If you magically obtained millions of dollars in cash, how would you deposit it without causing suspicion? Story 1. People are making this way too complicated. Money laundering costs money. I am not a lawyer, so don't take this as advice, but to the best of my knowledge, magic is not illegal, just frowned upon by religious movements. I would hire a good tax attorney and verify, but I'd probably deposit the money and report it as magical income. I imagine my new tax attorney would pay for lunch. They would wear a suit. I would dress down. Story 2. You buy a car wash you used to work at and have your wife run it because she was an accountant in the past and thinks she can launder it. Give her hundreds of thousands of dollars weekly until it becomes too much too fast for her to handle. At some point, she'll just take it to a storage unit. She'll then stack it up in a big cube under a cloth, keep it dry, and spray it for silver fish. At that point, she just shows you because she has no earthly idea how much it all actually is. Story 3. I'd come up with some kind of low-effort, crappy side hustle, like selling random junk at the swap meet. A couple grand here, a couple grand there, once a week. Wow, this is going better than I thought it would. Declared, taxed, clean as a whistle. Low-grade, inconspicuous money laundering. You'd have to be real patient, though. Drag it out for years and years. When you're out grocery shopping or at the mall, don't go with more than several $100 on your person. Do not tell anybody about your magic windfall because that's just asking to get robbed. Buy a big safe and bolt it to a concrete foundation, etc. Or keep some, not all of it in a storage locker buried under a shitload of random crap. Story 4. Real question for anyone who knows. Assuming you literally found $5 million in cash in the backseat of your car after leaving your windows down while you went shopping, is there a way for you to legally tell the police, IRS, etc., and just get yourself checked out and then claim it? Taxed as gambling winnings or crypto earnings or something? Curious, not mystery rich. Story 5. Can't deposit that anyway without causing suspicion, unfortunately. My friend from high school got into selling drugs and was making a killing. He'd spend all his cash on going out to eat, popping bottles at the club and throwing money at the strip club. It was fun while it lasted, then he got caught up and he disappeared. Story 6. I'd open an auto-wrecking yard like Pick and Pull. I would rent acreage and I'd buy thousands of broken-down cars for a few $100 each with cash and tow them to the yard. I would have a crew that dismantles whatever parts customers haven't taken off and prep the cars to be smashed, then sold for scrap metal. Once the cash flow from the business is good, then you could take the profits and invest them however you want. Story 7. Set up a charity which accepts cash donations. Put donation points outside, or even in, if you can manage it, a bunch of events where wealthy people will congregate and be likely to both have cash on them and want to be seen to be making donations. Oh yes, we made $52,000 from the Big Knobs charity ball in NYC just last week. It was marvelous. Story 8. A relative or acquaintance passed away, leaving it to you as an inheritance. Recordable at this point, and I think non-taxable. No clue how where they got it. Will give you attention from investigators who will look into it. Money is too easy to trace so anymore. Dates on bills, serial numbers of locations, etc. Story 9. Collect rare comics, stamps, coins, etc. You turn all that raw cash into rare collectibles. Then because this stuff isn't regulated or tracked like typical investment vehicles, you can probably find a way to deposit the money legally when you liquidate one by one. If government ever wants to figure how you got inventory, just tell them garage sales and storage unit auctions. Per $1 million needing laundering, that's only 110K items. Basically, you'd be able to fit a couple million in the back of a car by just clearing out every high-dollar collectible dealer in your wider region. Story 10. $1,000 a day at the casino and report all the winnings and only losses that would equate to my regular income. Over 3-4 years you spend all the cash and it's spread over 14 casinos while having a legit and legal tracking of the income. As long as you cash out enough small wins and report a reasonable amount of losses along the way, you will look like any other semi-competent card shark. Story 11. In Canada, there's no tax on winning money. I would take $10K at a time, withdraw $200 from my bank account, feed it all into a slot machine, play a little until it's less than $10K, cash out. All slots here pay with a slip not in coin. Take it to the cashier, get a receipt, deposit the money into my account. Also pay for everything day-to-day forever with CASAMD, buy gold and silver from anyone who would sell it FOT cash. Story 12. Honestly, as an AVG Joe, I probably wouldn't. If you were to look at why banking history for the last, say, 20 years, only one deposit goes in, my paycheck. So at most, I'd feel comfortable depositing maybe $100 to $200 every couple months, which just wouldn't be worth it, to me. So I deposited into any nook and cranny I could find, possibly even just having a hidden room built in my house with a safe to keep the cash. If it's millions upon millions, I'd consider an underground bunker. Recently, I got my revenge on the whole village and feel good about it. Story 13. When Breaking Bad was still on, I had a thought experiment one time about how at least part of that $70 million in the storage container could potentially be laundered. Walter and Skylar set up a foundation as a charity, a full, legit charity like the Walter White Cancer Research Foundation or something. They asked various storefront businesses if they could set up a donation box in each store, say 150 of them around New Mexico. The boxes won't get many donations, but once a month, the two of them empty the boxes and get ready to deposit the money in the charity's bank account. But before doing so, they add somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 from the stash in the storage unit, in loose bills and change, to each box. Never the same amount twice. They make it look like the charity is getting around $300,000 to $400,000 each month in donations. As I understand it, some state laws allow charities to accumulate donations for a few years in order to build up a fund before they are legally required to donate the money. They do this for 2 or 3 years. Walter passes away. Skylar is the sole director of a perfectly legal charity with around $8 million in the bank. As per charity's law, the charity begins donating to various cancer research projects, all perfectly legitimate. The charity is set up so that it pays Skylar a director's salary of $80, $100,000 a year. Skylar is set for life. She makes all kinds of new, helpful, and influential friends in the New Mexico medical and medical charity community. People are surprised at the success of the charity, but Walter and Skylar have been very patient and careful not to do anything that would raise suspicion. She's now in a position where she could take the rest of the $70 million sitting in the storage unit out into the desert and bury or burn it. She doesn't need it anymore. She's set for life. Story 14. Just like $500 every 2 months or so. If anyone asks, I do craft fairs and stuff. Sometimes my mom pays me a little to help out with her craft fair stuff. Garage sales, loose change, whatever. Just enough to stay qualifying for Social Security, but enough deposited to, pay to fix the chips in the windshield, or figure out why the vanity light leaks water sometimes. Then I figure out how to qualify for a home loan. Since I have so much other money in cash, then it's fine if all my direct deposit is going towards the loan or whatever, because I've got that cash to pay for frivolous expenses like toilet paper or new underwear. Story 15. In Australia, just take it to the local police station, while live streaming on social media, saying that you found this money. After I think 28 days, if no legal owner can be found, it's yours. 100% legal ownership, and if you find millions and only hand in, say, 30%, it'll explain further expansion of your wealth, just because you have a good business. Story 16. You buy a food truck, start it as a real business, run it for real, pay cash for supplies, pay your employees cash, and pad the cash drop every night in truly random denominations of 600 to 1,000 a day for the next 2 years, keeping the money deposited by Interac and credit card payments, and using those funds for reasonable expenses like rent, gas, car payments, and hiring an accountant. You can effectively clean $1 million. You just need to actually spend the money correctly. So washing $1 million. If your menu food sales are at 5x cozy, you're losing $200K, but pretty cleanly getting $800K into a bank. Takes time. This is how you don't get caught. Story 17. You can't. Depositing it will raise all kinds of flags and questions you cannot answer. You have to launder it or something. Go to one of those storage auctions and buy a unit it. Claim you found the gold in a suitcase in the unit. Put like $1 million in the suitcase and pay the taxes on it. Yes, it's only $1 million, but that feels like it could work. Even if they thought it was drug money or whatever, I don't think they would take it from you. Story 18. If I magically get millions of dollars in cash, can it be in official $500 and $1,000 bills? 1, they are collector items. 2, they are legal tender. And 3, all I have to do is get them graded. Then I take the bills to any bank, cause let me tell you, millions of dollars in mint at near mint $500 and $1,000 bills is not that much. Get a safety deposit box. Get the box insured. Boom, deposited. Story 19. You don't. You use that money to buy things that can reasonably be paid for with cash. Groceries, gas, reasonable used car, movie tickets, cigarettes, whatever else you could pay for in cash that wouldn't raise suspicion. If you want to buy something a bit bigger with that money, like a new couch or a new TV, you pay for it with a credit card. And when your bill comes due, you deposit a nice round number under $5,000 to pay it off. If someone asks, You sold a piece of antique furniture you found at a garage sale or on the side of the road, or that a friend, relative gave you. Just make sure you don't make more than 1 or 2 purchases like that per year. Most importantly, don't flaunt your newfound wealth. Don't show it off. Don't make any massive purchases. Don't go throwing around $10K tips or become a high roller at a casino. Don't go on expensive vacations. You keep living exactly the same life as you always do and fly completely under the radar, knowing that you're perfectly secure in terms of food, small luxuries, and gifts for friends, relatives for the rest of your life. Story 20. I wouldn't for the most part, maybe 1,000 or 2 every month. Get a prepaid debit card you can reload. Buy crypto using BTC ATMs. Otherwise, I would pay for everything with cash. Utilities via currency exchanges, groceries, gas, restaurants, and everywhere that takes cash. Also go to as many flea markets, coin shops, and antique malls, and buy as many silver and gold coins and bullion without being suspicious, like spending over $500 at a coin shop. I would keep my job for tax reasons and spend that income to build a stock portfolio. Story 21, rental properties. First or second of the month, make 3 individual cash deposits to your bank accounts, however you have it set up. Takes a couple of hours to set up some LLCs, some lease agreements, after buying the properties, of course, and registering them as rental properties. Every couple of years, state, city dependent, get your rental inspections done. At least in my state, there's practically no oversight committee investigating these things. Set the rent to whatever you want, do your taxes, and you are just fine. Story 22. I just wouldn't deposit it. I would try to pay as much things in cash as possible and avoid abnormally large purchases or spending in short periods of time. I am only assuming you are avoiding depositing in order to circumvent the IRS, in which case don't quit your job or let it change you in any way. Outside of that, do what other Redditors have said and just launder that 7. Good luck. Story 23. I would buy collectibles, highly graded cards, basketball, baseball, Pokemon, whatever comics, that are PSA or BGS 10/10. 0. Grails only. Use the cash, sell online, take the haircut for cleaning the money. This is an unregulated market, so you could buy up the population and manipulate the prices to fix the tax issue. Alternatively, take the cash through a DMZ, pay the 10 to 20% premium and take it abroad and then back. Or take it to Vegas. Story 24. Declare and pay tax on enough to clear $1 million or so. Enough to build a house and buy decent cars for a few family members. Sock away $100K for cash spending for quite a while. You can use cash for travel, gas and restaurants, etc., and food. Start a philanthropic trust with the rest. Build affordable, sustainable, owner-occupied housing so that money could keep turning over and doing good. Story 25. Don't worry about hiding the full amount at once. Set up a tutoring business, charge high prices, get business cards, advertisement, etc. Leave a well-documented paper trail. Turn down jobs except 1 a week or something. Hey IRS, I tutor 5. 10 kids a week for $100 and most of them pay cash, which I am reporting. Don't buy a crazy expensive care and live in a modest uptown house. This will account for a modest lifestyle. They don't know you pay cash at expensive restaurants, etc. How would they? Story 26. Don't deposit it. If it's cash, there's no reason to put it all in a bank. Go to several banks and get safety deposit boxes. Put cash in those. Visit banks regularly to take money out. If you had a safe at home, you'd put yourself at risk, but if you put it in a deposit box, the bank guards it for you. Spread it out over some banks, so that even if something happens to one, you've got others, and so no one that might want to rob you gets curious why you go to the bank a lot. The ideas about money laundering are good, but you don't need to launder this. It wasn't made through illegal actions, but from magic. I assume you mean let's pretend someone just gave you $2M and walked away. Not magic like you robbed a Brinks truck. If you launder it, you're going to pay taxes on it. It will take a while. You'll need to employ people. You need to run a business. You need to do fake accounting, which can get you in jail. Story 27. Keep the cash. I'd never deposit it. I'd use it for groceries and literally any time I want to eat out. I'd treat my friends, buy their gifts in cash, or just give them cash, go out and do local experiences that still accept cash. And imagine how great it would be to always have cash to give someone. Homeless people, friends, family, or just anyone. Save half of it for savings, cash emergency fund inside my place, then redistribute the other half and live lavishly. Story 28. Buy as much as I can in cash. Buy gift cards for places I like to go. Erratically put randomized cash amounts in my bank account, low sums. Give cash to my parents and have them pay me back. Again, not large sums. Take more financial risk by buying a house and paying extra on the mortgage with cash payments if possible. Buy things in cash, low-amount vehicles, and then resell them. Deposit money. Trade up vehicle to vehicle with cash incentives to get pricier vehicles, possibly. Could do the same with guns or something similar. I'd play a long game. Having money in reserve would mean I could take some risks with Burr once I have enough equity in-house. Most importantly, I'd work less overtime. Story 29. I would go the landlord route. Rent out my house for a Airbnb until I get enough to use as a down payment while I camp out in several local campgrounds. Once I buy a second house, I would charge a rent slightly below average for my area while reporting an income slightly over what I am charging. Keep this up until more properties and work to pay off mortgages as I go until I have passive income and a money laundering operation. Story 30. MO. I once cut up newspaper in the size of Canadian bills and marked them each as a $100 dollar bill, banded them together in stacks of $25K each, and took the count up to $6.5 million that fit into my duffel bag at the time. My duffel bag now is almost 2.5 times as large, so I'm thinking I would put $18.5 million in my bag. Probably another $5. $10 million in one of my day packs. Fill another duffel in my saddlebags with clothes and just say, fuck it, and hit the road. Cash is still good everywhere, but I'd deposit $10K in 3 or 4 different banks and get prepaid credit cards from each one. Hotels, motels all require plastic, so I'd just keep topping up those cards to use for accommodations, fuel, etc. It sounds crazy, but you could literally carry upwards of $30 million with you, and as long as you never showed anybody, and your vehicle, in my case, a motorcycle, never got stolen, it'd be quite easy. You'd keep enough clothes in each bag to cover the cash, and make sure you didn't get hauled over for speeding or doing stupid stuff. What the hell? It's a cool dream, right?